Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Santa Cruz Centers for Spiritual Living. This is our Sunday celebration, and we are so pleased to have you here in the sanctuary today, and we are glad that it is open. A special welcome to those viewing us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. My name is Reverend Tamara Merrill, and I'm a staff minister here at Santa Cruz CSL. We're located in the neighborhood of Live Oak, and we honor the ancestral land that we occupy of the Ama Mutsun tribe. Our theme this month is Holy, Holy Uprising. Please join me now in an opening song by Eddie Watkins Jr. titled, I Am the Place.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You
lives,
are the place.
moves and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You are the place.
moves and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. I want you to clap your hands and sing it with me. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins, can I have some more of that? Can we have some more of that? A little more? A little more.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God chosen.
Eddie Watkins. Good job, brother. Outstanding. Eddie Watkins Jr.
What a wonderful song. I hope you enjoyed that song by Eddie Watkins Jr. This center is a part of a worldwide global movement known as Centers for Spiritual Living. We share a purpose, a vision, and a mission with our movement. And we have our own centering statement for our community. Please say this mindfully with me. We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives and the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. We have a wonderful morning planned for you this morning. We will first begin with a brief spiritual practice with our very own Reverend Elijah Christopher, followed by music by Jamie Lula, and then our beloved Reverend Alice will speak to us. Take it away, Elijah.
And so, good morning, my friends. We're going to begin with this quote from Ernest Holmes, and then that will take us into a few moments of contemplation and prayer. And so, if it's comfortable for you, close your eyes or just take in these words on the screen as I read this aloud. And so we begin. Our movement will not depend on a talk such as I am giving you now. Our evolution, what it will mean to the world, will not depend on the books we write. It will depend on what we do with it. It will depend on someone knowing enough about this philosophy to cause something to happen because of what they know, in the way it ought to happen, according to their own volition. And so if your eyes aren't closed already, I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. Breathe in. And let go. Take another deep breath in. And let go. Together, let's take one more deep breath in. And as we breathe into this space, I just invite each of us to first remember that we are actually being breathed by something greater than ourselves. That our bodies are being animated by a life force, by an infinite presence, by the one who is living and breathing in everyone and everything. That the infinite, that the powerful, that the conscious presence of life itself is so intricately and intimately interwoven into every element and aspect and particle of existence that it is almost unseen, almost unnoticeable. And yet that infinite presence, that cosmic consciousness, that evolutionary process that I call God, is truly that which is living and breathing and focusing and choosing as each one of us, as every life, as every person, as every choice. The universe evolves through us. And so this morning, let us just remember who and what we are as manifestations of the universe, as children of the Most High God. That we come together to remember our unity, to remember our divinity, to remember our purpose, to remember to be on purpose. And so we come into community for the reminder, for the opportunity, for the collective experience, and for the shared practice. And so let us be uplifted today. May the music, may the message, may all that we hold in this space, virtually and in person, that we share together, let it open our hearts to see through the eyes of the divine, to find it in ourselves, to see it in each other, and to practice the willingness to find it everywhere we look as we move out into the world. And so today, I just speak a word of gratitude, of deep celebration and honor, recognizing that infinite love, that powerful presence that lives within each one of us, for the opportunity and the freedom to gather in community and celebrate this common unity. And so for all of this and so much more, I just Open my heart, my mind, and my life to an awareness that there is indeed a power for good in this universe that is so much greater than we are. And it is up to us to become the place where God lives, moves, and has its being. Let each of us be the place where this infinite power for good shows up in the world. And let that be who we are in all that we do. And so take another breath as we ground in this moment by saying, and so it is.
Love is my choice. Love is my decision. I wish you peace. I wish you joy. I wish you love, 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 love. I wish you faith in yourself to reveal all that you've come here to be. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Ooh, I wish you strength. I wish you courage, wish you love, 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 love. I wish you purpose to create all your dreams and co-conspire with the light of your life. Oh, love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh, 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 your answers to eternity are always deep inside you. Their freedom of expression is yours to choose right now. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Oh, love is my choice. Love is my decision. Oh, love is my voice. Love is my religion. Yeah, love is my religion. Love is my religion. Love is, oh, love is my religion. Love is, oh, love is my religion. Love is, love is, oh, love is.
That was great. Thank you so much, Jamie, for the music this morning. Love is my religion. How about you? Yeah? Good morning. I'm so glad to be with you here this morning. It's so good to see more people in the sanctuary. I believe that it's not too premature to tell you that we will be moving over the next month to putting more chairs in the sanctuary and changing how we are going to be able to be together in the sanctuary. And so I'm really excited that by Father's Day you might see some significant differences in our place of gathering. So stay tuned. It's very exciting. It might be a little scary for some people, but we will get there together and we'll support each other as we begin to walk out this thing called pandemic. So I'm really happy to be with you. I am. I know that there's many of you on Zoom. I wish I could see your beautiful faces as well. I know that some of you are joining us on YouTube and Facebook, and I'm really glad that you're here with us. This month we're looking at this monthly theme of the Holy, Holy Uprising. And today I want to talk to you about the keepers of the lie. I was in a meeting at a small leadership meeting at our for the Centers for Spiritual Living, our global movement, and we were talking about something a little mundane. We were talking about financial terminology, and we began to talk about this old story that Centers for Spiritual Living carried for a long time about not having enough and always struggling. And as we began to dialogue about this, and as the conversation progressed, I suddenly realized that that old story still lived in me. I could still touch the remnants of it just under the surface of my conscious understanding. And despite the fact that I consider myself someone who really carries this story and believes in the abundance of all life and have a pretty good prosperity consciousness, I heard these words in my heart: you are one of the keepers of the lie. And when I heard that, I realized that it had all kinds of applications. that you know, as we teach in this philosophy that everything is created twice, first in consciousness and then in form, when we talk about this idea of the lie, what that really means for me is that place in our subconscious where we still hold an idea of separation, some kind of lack or limitation of some kind that still is nestled within us. And so I would further venture to say that as long as we live in a world that still doesn't work for all, as long as we continue to live in a world that continues to have people experience hunger and continues to have people experience poverty and continues to have people experience suffering, that we are keepers at some level of that lie. Because when that idea of poverty or hunger is absolutely fully dissolved, when we fully step into and embody and realize that highest vision, well, those things will change. And they have changed because you're probably like me in that things change gradually. They take time to move through us. I mean, I've certainly had my share of instant demonstrations, but a lot of the things I have to sort of dig into my subconscious and pull out those threads that are still living and alive inside of me. I have to come to that realization that I'm not clear, that there's still some incongruency. And when I become aware of that, then that's one less lie I have to hold. That's one less untruth, one less hidden idea that comes to the light so that I can have greater clarity, so that I really can walk out in the world from a place of responding to life with love. So this morning, as we are looking at this idea of being keepers of the lie, I want to talk about it in context with this very old story that still is alive in our culture called racism. And I know that no one here, no one listening to the sound of my voice has any intention to walk out in life oppressing others or actively being a racist. I think we consider ourselves many of us consider ourselves anti-racist. And yet, I don't believe that we can truly address a problem that's so large and so pervasive as racism unless we're willing to own a part of that, unless we're willing to see where that still lives in our subconscious. And I want to say that that it's really important for us to be able to stand up to things that aren't right, to be able to speak out when we see something in the world that needs to shift or change. But I sometimes think that the cancel culture goes too far. And while I know that when we are walking out in the world and we see some place where there's actual harm happening, that it's important for us to speak up. It's important for us to disrupt that harm, to call somebody out. But I think the greater challenge, and often the opportunity, is for us to find a way to call people in. And when we call people in, that's when we have to really up our game, right? That's the point where we really have to learn some skills. It takes creativity, it takes empathy, it takes courage. But frankly, I think what it really takes is some humility. Some humility and some ability to see ourselves and others. There's this great quote from Valerie Kerr, who's the author of our book of the month, See No Stranger. Talked about her 2 weeks ago. And she writes this: loving my opponents is not just moral, it is strategic. It is pragmatic. It is how we transition the institutions of power in this country to set all of us free, even those who are on the other side of the line. So if we are steeped in this thing called racism, that we see it all around us, and we know that consciousness creates, and yet we still have this experience of racism all around us, then we have to admit that it still lives, right, in the collective unconscious. It's still there. It still has some kind of power and some draw for us, and yet how are we to move through this? How are we to really begin to make the shift and turn the tide? Well, I would say that in the last 16 months, there's been a greater awareness than any that I have witnessed in my lifetime. And when we look at what has been happening in the world, it has caused us to step away and step out of the normal day-to-day. And in that, it has caused us to be more present with what we're seeing in the world. It's caused us to be more present with our own thoughts and our own actions. And it's difficult because when we think about the tenets, the basic foundation of racism, it's really very intrinsic in the development of the systems that we live in this country. It's right there steeped in our economic system. It's right there steeped in the laws and the way that we built this country. And so, dare I say, it's going to take some deconstruction before we can really get to the reconstruction. And part of the problem, I think, is that it's very easy for us to drop into what I'll call dualistic thinking. That whenever we are doing our work as anti-racist, as allies for social justice, whenever we are standing in that position and we're in that place of us against them, we're in that place of dualistic thinking, And even though we may feel like we stand on the side of right, we are still keepers of the lie. We're still holding on to that dualistic idea of us against them. We're still embedded in that caste system, if you will. And oftentimes, when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, when it's really rising up, oftentimes we think we have to do all this, all the changes have to happen somewhere out there. And I want to encourage you to consider that any of the changes that you wish to see in the world have to start and really be embodied by you. It's that old saying that if you want a relationship, if you're looking for love in your life, you have to be willing to give the love that you want to receive. And it works on this level as well. It works on the level of racism as well. It works on the level of any social injustice, that we have to be willing to be that which we want to see out in the world. Anybody who has done any level of work in changing their consciousness knows that there's this place that you can sometimes get to when you're working on a particularly challenging issue, whether it be your health or your wealth or your relationships, that sometimes you get a little stuck. And the thing that sometimes happens is what Emma Curtis Hopkins called chemicalization. And what chemicalization means is that everything unlike what it is that you're looking for has to come up to be revealed, has to come up to be healed and moved out, so that you can really have that experience of embodiment of what it is you're looking for. And if I look out into the world and see what's going on, I don't know about you, but it sure looks like chemicalization to me. It sure looks like there's a lot of chemicalization going on right now. And it's our cue, right? It's that, Reverend Elijah would call it the feedback loops that we're in when we're walking out life, and the life begins to show up in a certain way, and it's like, that's our cue to say, oh, what's inside of me? What do I have to change? Holmes puts it this way, and I love this quote. I've used this quote a bunch of times over the years, and it's on page 124 of the Science of Mind text, and it reads, "We arrive at a consciousness of unity only in such degree as we see that what we're looking for, we're looking with and looking at." In other words, everything we experience has some place within ourselves. We can't deny, if we see it out in the world, we cannot deny that it doesn't live in us as well. There's no way about that everything is connected. And so as we do our work to really dive deep into this audacious, hairy vision of a world that works for everyone, well, yeah, stuff that doesn't work for everyone is really going to bubble up. It's really going to come forward. It's going to draw you in. There's a wonderful body of work around social justice by a woman of the name of Joanna Macy. And some of you may have heard this before. She talks about change, and social change is happening from three different levels, three different ways or modalities, and that they all have to work together, and you can't have one without the other. But not all of us locate ourselves in all three of these. And she says in order to have change in social systems, we first have to have the disruptors. We have to have the people who are willing to say, no, this is not okay, and lay down in front of the bulldozer, or tie themselves to a tree, or protest in the streets. But we also need the people who are willing to work within the systems to change the systems from that inside view, the people who are already entrenched in the system, who are willing to begin to create the different ways so that the system can begin to shift. And then the final modality that she talks about that is important for us to hold consciousness, that highest ideal has to be held. We have to hold it within our hearts and our minds in order for it to begin to come forward. And she says that all three of those modalities have to work together. And so this morning I'm really looking at that. What is in our consciousness? Not in the consciousness police way that maybe some of you have experienced over the years, or somebody's come, you have a cold and somebody walks up to you and it's like, what's in your consciousness that you're sick? And we're not talking about that. We're really talking about the diving deep and pulling out and being willing to extract those places within ourselves that are still holding to that systematic way of life that we're all living in this country. And so we have to hold consciousness about it. We have to shift our consciousness. We have to move our ideas and move our minds and let our hearts follow. But we also have to do action. You're not off the hook. If you locate yourself in that third of the equation, you're not off the hook for not doing action. Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen is the author of there's a daily reading in the Science of Mind magazine, and today's reading is just perfect, so I want to share a little bit about what he wrote. He said, preparing for the big game is not the same as playing in the game. Preparation is important, but being in the action is what it's about. Getting ready to live is not the same as living. Your education, secular and spiritual, is invaluable, but what is it for? You've got to get out and audaciously do what you came into this world to do. And so Reverend Sorensen is really engaging us to say, yes, we want to cultivate our consciousness, we want to do that work, but then we operate and we move from that place that we've cultivated within our minds. And so you've probably heard me say this a dozen times, that it is the consciousness that we want to operate from, and then we take action because we're grounded in deep clarity and embodiment of the principles that are really important to us. There's a quote that I want to share with you from Sonia Renee Taylor, and she wrote this really audacious book called The Body is Not an Apology. It was our book of the month a while back, and she's on the cover of the June magazine, and she writes this, and I think it's a pretty bold statement. She says, "You are struggling in this system as well. It is killing you too. Whiteness is not about you. Whiteness is the structure into which you were born. Stop experiencing the conversation of whiteness and the white supremacy delusion as who you are, and start experiencing it as something that you were assigned that is not serving you, and something that you wish to remove elements of from your life on a regular basis." So she's encouraging us to lean into this thing that I would call white preference or white conditioning. And it is the underlayment of racism that we have been conditioned. We have been, or as Miguel Ruiz of the Four Agreements famously used this term, domesticated. We've been domesticated. And oftentimes the things that we've been domesticated about are very unconscious to us. I saw this video of a young white girl who was given a picture of cartoons of little girls, kind of cartoonish. You really couldn't see their faces, but their skin color got darker, and there were 5 of them. And she was 5 years old, maybe, and the researcher was asking her, point to the good, which girl is the good girl? Which girl is the bad girl? Which girl is the mean girl? Which girl is the ugly girl? And this child, innocent child, kept pointing to the darker cartoons, the cartoon drawings of the little girls that had darker skin when the negative things came up. And it was purely, I believe, only because they didn't look like her. Richard Rohr does a lot of writing about unitive Christianity, and when he talks about this idea of unitive spirituality, he entices us to understand that there's a distinct difference between unity and uniformity. And that sometimes that subconscious indoctrination that we've had in our society is more based in uniformity than it is in unity. I will never forget the time when my daughter, my beautiful daughter who had long blonde hair, walked up the driveway with a shaved head. At 14, I was aghast. I was aghast. And the words that came out of my mouth, they were something like, "Why would you do something so destructive?" Those words, I know, stung her, and they stung me equally as well. And I remember dropping her off at school the next day, and we pulled up into the line at school, and I watched all the little girls with the long ponytails and the little tennis shoes and the shorts and the polo shirts getting out of their car, and there were many of them. And then my daughter getting out of the car and joining them in her baggy black clothes and her shaved head. And it suddenly struck me what kind of courage it took for her to do something different. It's a little story, but I think you get the point. It takes courage to break form. It takes courage to step out of the steady state of what we're doing, because there is something so deep and authentic and required on our planet around this idea of loving so deeply that we no longer are keepers of the lie. And instead, we are keepers of the truth. We're keepers of that beautiful, pure idea of love that sees no otherness. It's a high ideal, I know, and it's a lot of work, and it's uncomfortable, and it's messy, and it's required. All month we have been looking at this idea of our centering statement, and the last line of it is responding to life with love, and that is the commitment that we've made as a community, that we're going to respond to life with love. And all month we've been asking you, what is your quality that you want to respond to life with? Because while you may want to respond to life with love, there might be something that's more authentic to you. So as we look at this idea of the holy, holy uprising and what is ours to do so that we can walk out into this world and really create a world that works for everyone, I want to encourage you that when we read that centering statement, you don't have to say love. You can say creativity. You can say joy. You can say beauty. Whatever it is that's true to you. Oh, I had so much more I wanted to share with you this morning, but I'm running out of time. So I do want to let you know that our community has a website that has a web page that is dedicated to diversity and inclusion, and so we are beginning to populate that with resources for you. And so I hope that when you are faced with this discomfort and and at the same time this draw to want to create a world that works for everyone, to be in that place of helping to create a just and beautiful world, that you'll consider checking out our resources, going on and seeing what it is that you can do. I found this one woman who has taken the 12 steps of the recovery program, and she has morphed them for recovering from what she calls white conditioning. And they're really beautiful to be able to look at and unearth those things that still live in us. And so that we'll put it on the webpage. It'll be up in the next week or two. And there'll be other resources about calling in versus calling out, and organizations in our very own community that are doing the good work of creating a world that works for everyone. And so I want to encourage you to do your work, to listen within, to begin to, my mentor likes to say, we first go down and in before we can go up and out. And so I want to encourage you to do the down and in work so that you can really ground yourself in that place of how it is you want to respond to the world, so that you can, as Christian Sorensen so beautifully said, take the action and boldly do the work that is yours to do. This thing called life that we are so generously given, that is ours for the making, is it's an amazing opportunity. And we're never done. There's always more beauty to realize. There's always more joy to experience. There's always more love to give and to receive. And so our task here as spiritual livers, as individuals who are committed to the spiritual path and then walking that out into the material world, our task really is to open ourselves, to create that transparency that is so clear that the pure spirit sifts through us so easily that there's no blockage, there's no obstacle, there is only manifestation as you, as God in form. I did want to let you know, I did want to share with you, and I didn't want to get off this platform this morning without sharing with you that Tuesday is the year anniversary of George Floyd's murder. And there's a peaceful honoring of that anniversary that's going to be happening downtown in Santa Cruz on the courthouse steps at 6:30. If that's something that is calling you, some kind of honoring, I think, that was, God bless everyone involved with that, because that was such a pivotal moment in our culture. And so it is an opportunity for us to name a thing, right? To recognize racism, to stand for that never happening again, to stand for a much more just society. And again, you locate yourself in whatever triad works for you from Joanna Macy's model. And when you do it with your whole self. Give your whole self to that. Be authentic. Walk it out with power. That's why we're here, to express fully. It's a powerful invitation, and so I think I want to thank you for hanging with me. I know racism is a tough topic. I know all that we've been through continues to be challenging, but it is the worthy fight, so that we truly can live in a world that works for everyone. So let's go ahead and take that into prayer, shall we? So in this place, as I locate myself, I feel the ground beneath me. I know that there is a power and a presence that is moving in as and through me, that there is nothing that I experience out in the world that doesn't also live within me. And so it is in this moment that I claim that highest and that best for myself, for my brothers and my sisters, for all life everywhere. And so I know that it is mine. What is mine to do is to continue to do that work of weeding out all that stands in the way of how I want to respond to the world. And I trust that this holy, holy uprising that is happening all around me and within me and in my community and in the world, I trust that all of this has come forth so that we can truly be that authentic and audacious expression of God. That Spirit can inhabit us and we can inhabit Spirit in such a way that we lose this sense of us versus them, and instead we recognize the power and the presence of the love that lives within us that wants to express by means of us to light the pathway forward, to guide our steps, to guide and help us choose our words so that we don't speak violence, so that we don't do violence, so that we don't hurt one another, and instead we lift each other up. I know that the presence of the One is becoming more clear and more visible as each one continues to open their heart and open their mind and to walk out into the world as the perfect expression and individuated movement of Spirit. I give great thanks for the courage and the creativity, the courageous way that we walk out in the world, and I trust that each one is divinely supported, that each one finds their way of being, the work that is theirs to do, and the support to do it. And I know that this is indeed the work of Spirit, and Spirit always supports its work. So I bless each one as we continue to say yes and yes and yes again to the holy, holy uprising that comes in and out. We go down and in, and we come out and express. And I give great thanks for the willingness of each one here. And we simply anchor this prayer in that power and that presence by saying together, and so it is.
Walk a mile or a minute in another man's shoes. He's got a path to take to find his truth. Any way you spin it, he's a lot like you. Finding his faith on roads that you'd never choose. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Cloud your vision, love be your only mission always. Let go the old conditions, let love be your only mission always. I keep on walking, keep on walking. Tell a tale, you're in it, hear a brother man's blues. He's got a destination now and no excuse. Why do you condemn it when it's not your own? You can't unsee it when the light has shone. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Love be your only mission always. Let go of the old condition, let love be your only mission always. Keep on walking, keep on walking. One foot in front of the other, hand in hand, one with another. Walk with your sister and brother always. One foot in front of the other, hand in hand, one with another. Walk with your sister and brother always. one foot in front of the other, hand in hand, one with another. Walk with your sister and brother always. Oh, don't let it cloud your vision. Love be your only mission always. Let go of the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Oh, don't let it cloud your vision. Love be your only mission always. Let go of the old condition. Let love be your only mission always. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Oh, oh, keep on walking. Keep on walking. Ooh. Yes. Keep on walking. Peace and blessings.
Great song. Right now, I'd like to share our abundance affirmation. And please say this with me mindfully. I open myself to receive great prosperity, health, and healing. Gratefully, I receive the gift that I am seeking. I accept my good and send it on to bless all humanity. I am thankful to be so richly supplied and so able to serve. I am fully blessed. And so it is. Time for our thank yous and appreciation time. Thank you to the broadcast staff, Nancy, Mohini, and Susan. Thanks to our musicians, Eddie Watkins Jr. and Jamie Lula. And of course, yay! And of course, I want to thank our speaker today, our beloved Reverend Alice, for her inspirational talk. Thank you, Reverend Alice. And most importantly, I want to thank you, because you are here, we are here. There's only one of us here. So at this time, if you found this time very important, please give generously, financially. So not only can we keep our lights on, but we can have this wonderful music and all these things in our community. There are 5 ways to give. You can go to the website, you can mail a check, you can text to give. There's our app or our QR code. And also, for those of you present today with each other and myself, there is a bowl in the back, and you can give your financial gift in the back. Thank you so much for that. You can join us live in the sanctuary, as many of you are today. Ew! I wish you could all on Zoom and Facebook and YouTube see the beautiful faces I get to see today. It's wonderful, and it's like so exciting because there's quite a few. This is the most I think I've ever seen here, and that's like, woo, yay! So, again, in the sanctuary, please RSVP, YouTube channel, Facebook, and Zoom. Woohoo! Meditation before the service has resumed. Join us in the back garden at 10 a.m., weather permitting. And someone just said it was very nice. Talk after the talk on Zoom. If you're watching us on Zoom, you're already here. Starts about 12:25-ish today, and that will be, oh, did I say 10? Oh, you missed it. No, 11:25-ish. Hey, so 11:25-ish, and Reverend Elisha will be joining that. And in the back garden will be our wonderful Reverend Alice to be speaking with you today. Next week, oh, bring your own lawn chair if you have one for the garden. please, the upcoming events are right here on the screen. I don't need to say it because I think they've already been said. And next week, our speaker, oh, who is she? Oh, yeah, it's me. Yeah, yours truly. All right. So I will be speaking next Sunday. Thank you again for joining us today, everywhere, and have a wonderful, blessed week. Namaste.